Good morning. Welcome to yet another episode of Redstone LAPIS LAZULI. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiro. Yes, hey, check it out. All right. Switch. There we go. Hey, so I have spent a long time messing with my sound settings, and I realized I didn't need to be yelling at people, dude. All I had to do was totally screw up my entire sound system and redo it to find out that I could just like adjust the settings to be like, yo, I can talk normal and not shout and the mic will still pick it up. Excellent compression. Anyways, yeah. Hey, I have spent a ridiculous amount of time playing Minecraft this week. Like an inordinate amount of time. I shouldn't have probably played so much Minecraft. Like it was probably bad for me. But what you see here, it may appear to be ugly, but it is indeed beautiful. It is the most beautiful thing ever. It is not the most beautiful thing ever, but it is a really beautiful thing. It is a fully functional gold farm. It's a fully functional gold farm. This thing totally works. Whole thing works. It works as a gold farm, and it has some innovations in it that I want to show off. But basically, it's a fully functional gold farm. Here's the switch that turns on the portal lighting mechanism. So then that lights the portals, and that spawns the pigmen, who then funnel into this chamber, which I will flick on, and they get processed. They just get processed. So transformed. They're the evil pigmen, evil zombie undead pigmen, who enter into our world unjustly, are processed, stripped of their material, of the material casings, and their essences are released. And then we process their essences. Hold on, I don't have the thing I need to stand on. Then we can process their essences. But this is the cool thing. Check out how this is done. It comes in from the process, and in the stream, in the water stream, the machine takes out the golden swords and then lets out everything else. That's fantastic. This is an amazing innovation by this water stream unstackable item filter is designed by Golden Helmet 403. I saw his YouTube video like this week, and it like blew my mind. Look at that. All the items flow to here, and then the swords get sorted out, and then the rest of it goes up. How does it work? Ow. Like, I don't really fully understand it. It's like some pretty good magic. But basically, these two hoppers are looking at each other. So all the items come into these two hoppers, or all the items come into one hopper, but they're split between two hoppers to go evenly into two different lines. That's a great innovation, to take one stream and split it into two evenly, divide it. Like that's great to divide it. Then the hopper goes over to, then it goes to this one where it's read by a comparator. All right, if the comparator doesn't see anything, like if the hopper isn't full, like it's only got one item, it's only got one little item, that puts out a signal of only like tiny little bit. So the comparator, it reads it, but it's not gonna really make it. It's not gonna go very far. It's not even gonna work really. Okay. So what happens is the item gets shuffled off into this hopper, into this dropper, which then pushes it back up here and into the water stream. However, if you happen to be a gold sword, that's a full signal strength. That's a full signal strength. So what happens is that's going to turn on the comparator like this. And let's see, how does that work? I don't know. But somehow, if you're a sword, you don't get pushed out. You fall through this hopper. I guess this hopper unlocks. That's what happens. That this hopper, yeah. If you're a sword, you will turn off this torch, which makes this dropper or this hopper open, and you're a sword, you'll fall through to the bottom hopper, and then you get pushed out into a cauldron of lava. Both of these are, yeah, you get pushed into this line, which pushes you into the cauldron of lava, and that deletes you. But if you're not, if you're not a bad person, or if you're not a sword, you're gonna keep flowing through on the way out. How great! What a great design! What a great design! Watch this video to understand it better. I don't know. I don't really. I mean, I get it. It's brilliant. I just don't understand it. It's so brilliant. Okay. Then the remaining items and the XP and everything are sent up this water stream, where they're deposited into the water stream. So yeah. It's a little bit different now because items will combine. They don't stay separate anymore. They combine into like, so 5 items will combine into like 2. It'll still be 5 when you pick it up, but it looks like 2. And that helps on the computer. But yeah, so the items flow through, they go through their item sorter into the item sorter, and they go to where their home is. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, it just cycles through again and goes again. It doesn't really matter. And the XP just flows. And then down here, through this little thing, I can collect the XP. And then these 2 first ones are to collect the rotten flesh. And that's routes it to this dropper clock. And it just drops it into this cauldron of lava. Hey, Psyched 444, check it out. I'm like showing off all my new stuff this morning. Okay. So, and then the gold ingots continue to flow to wherever they need to go. So my gold problems are now solved. All I do is hang out. Hang out and watch pigmen die. I mean, I don't watch pigmen die. I hang out and I convert the evil pigmen that enter into our world, and I just change them. I strip them of their corporal presence, and I take their essences and I distill them into things I can use. That's all. That's all. It's nothing bad. These guys are not even alive. They're already dead. They're undead zombie pigmen. They shouldn't even be here. They only cause harm. So by getting rid of them, I'm doing the world a service. And I'm getting a bunch of gold to do other great things. So yeah, what a great system, huh? Alright, they're all dead. Turn this off. So I mean, it's not finished. It's not finished at all, right? I'm not finished with it because it's look how janky it is. But it works, is what I'm saying. It's not finished, but it works. It works great. Okay. I should like watch how loud I talk. I get excited. I get excited about my buildings. Okay, let me sleep. Get excited about things. All right, check it out. I found a horse along my travels, and this makes things a lot easier. Horses, man, I'm telling you, horses. All about the horses. Till you get rails. All right, so I have made some altercations. I now have like a functional gold or a trading hall and iron farm. Is it finished? No, it's not finished, but it's functional. It works. It'll do its thing. I have like a auto sheep shearer here. Is it finished? No, but it's functional. It'll get me the wool I need. That's the important thing. But let's show you the iron farm. So yeah, here is the fully functional iron farm. What? So there's 40 villagers here. 40. That means there's 4 villages. That means up to 4 golems can spawn above me, and they exist at the same time. So the key is just to kill them as fast as possible. And like, unfortunately, I don't have a really good way of doing it to kill them fast. So I just kill them with lava because it's easy. And I drop their drops in the lava. It's also a string farm because I need string to make scaffolding and other things. Okay. Also, I've got all these villagers hooked up with all their trades. I can't afford most of them right now because I haven't worked with the villagers yet. I have to finish the trading hall. It's functional, but it's not finished. So if you can, here, I'll show you real quick. You can see all these guys have like a little lever, and if I flick the lever, they go down. And if I flick the lever again, they come back up. So what that is behind here, all the villagers are standing on a piston. And there's a trap door there. And the line is powered by that lever right up here. And that lever right here powers this line, which powers this piston. If I turn off the lever, it turns off the piston. It also depowers this line here. So the idea was to put a zombie on a minecart and push him around or let him go around. And then when he gets to an unpowered rail, he will stop and then attack the villager. Well, that would have to go up, and then the villager would be seen, and the villager would be down, and he would attack the villager. The problem is the zombie would shoot past the unpowered rail and not even hit the guy. The other problem is that the trap door doesn't automatically go up if I flick the lever. He stays there. So I have to manually move the trap door. I need the trap door there because I like to let villagers out to breed, to have babies, but the babies will get through the hole. So I need the trap door to keep the babies inside the trading hall. Otherwise, they can escape and die. And I don't want that, right? Okay, so, but this, again, like I said, the system doesn't work because the zombie just shoots past the powered rail, the unpowered rail. So I have devised a new system that will work. However, that new system requires a lot of powered rail. And I'll do that later. But it'll be cool once I get it going. I'll show it off. But yeah, this thing is not finished yet. Sure, it'll spawn golems. Sure, but it's unsorted. None of this stuff is sorted. Sure, I have a trading hall, but all their trades are really expensive, are generally expensive. Some of them are expensive. Like 22, like, oh, I can't afford that. Over here. This is a witch hut that has been invaded by inquisitors. So now I have made this into an inquisitor farm. It's not finished. But it works. And I know it works because I can like find the drops in here. And I have to manually go through and sort out the crap. But it works. It's functional. It's not finished, but it's functional. Yeah. Okay, the idea was, I had another idea first before I started all this. And I will show you my aborted attempt. Let me show you my aborted attempt. Aborted. Why? Because I will show you. show you. Look at this. Look at this long, scary, dark path you have to go on, right, to get to it. Yeah, I tried to get voice meter banana to work with my system, and it was kind of working, but the problem was it was like such a pain in the butt. And then I found no benefit because I don't listen to another stream. I don't use Discord. I don't use any of that. What? Isn't that awesome? Isn't that great? This underground, massive underground lava lake and the huge cavern. And you see how there's no monsters here? It's because I put torches everywhere. So, and then you see up here. You can see up here. An attempt was made. There was an attempt. There was an attempt to create a gold farm down here in this massive room above a lake of lava. It was going to be brilliant. It was going to be so beautiful. I mean, like, look, I mean, difficulty, super hard, right? Super hard difficulty to do this. I had to make a sentry over there because I was always being attacked by slimes. So, like, yeah, to not be attacked by slimes. Look what I had to do. Look what I had to do. Look what I do for you. All right. What else? But yeah, okay, so why did I abandon this beautiful thing? Well, isn't that great? Isn't that beautiful? That's amazing. That's so nice. I love it with the background, with the giant cave and everything. It looks so cool. But there's one problem. There's just one little tiny problem. There are no pigmen. No zombies come out. Nothing's coming out. Nothing's happening. I mean, like, sure, it looks pretty, and it's doing exactly it. The portal is doing what it's supposed to. The problem is that there's a bug. There's a bug now that stops pigmen from spawning below Y level 0. So I didn't know that until after I built this. I built this, I saw it didn't work. Then I'm like, what's going on? So I looked on the internet, and yeah, I find out there's a bug. So I wasted all that obsidian, all that material. Oh well. But isn't this a cool cave? It was going to be so neat. All that labor, all that work. These caves are great. I think Minecraft, the Mojang team did a great job with these caves. These caves are amazing. And then the guy, I think his name is Mad Lad, I don't know, who made this Luminex, Lumen RTX pack. Great job, guy. This is an amazing resource pack, texture pack. You can hear the snot in my freaking nose. I can't get rid of it. It's just hanging out there. All right. What do we got here? I should probably sleep. Oh, the sunshine. So nice. So nice, the sunshine here. Shadows are so clean. Wait till I get a shadow. All right, so yeah, brilliant. Back to the gold farm. Oh yeah, before the gold farm. And the last thing, oh yeah, I added a second layer to the sugarcane farm, but I'm gonna need to add a third layer just for bamboo, because now that I found bamboo, I use scaffolding a lot. I forgot how great scaffolding. I was talking about like, oh yeah, I love dirt. I love dirt for scaffolding. No, scaffolding is great. Yeah, this is a great little farm. Okay. In the nether, as you know, I died multiple times to invaders, so I replaced my doors with steel doors. Nobody was coming in this time. What's up, guy? Ow! Punk. Yeah, they can't get in. Ha 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 ha. Hate all you want, fools. You can't touch me. So, look at all you haters. Look at them. Look at them. They're all just like, they really, really hate me. They really hate me. They hate me so much they're shooting each other, trying to shoot me. That's how bad it is. They're hitting themselves, trying to hit me. Like, remind you of anyone else? Idiots. Alright. Oh yeah, my chicken farm here. I have a chicken farm. It's pretty glitchy, right? You can see it's glitchy. And it tends to create breeds of fireproof chickens, which then fill up my inventory with like eggs. Just wrecks the system. I don't know. I need to get a better chicken system. Auto cooker. Because this one ain't working. I mean, sure, I can fix it, but it's like, that means I have to manually do it. And for me, Minecraft is all about automation. So kill the adult chicken who's immune to lava and who's been laying all these eggs that I had to get rid of. All right, there. Now it's working. Okay, so how this works, designed by Jay-Z, I think, or partially. Not Jay-Z, JC. No, Jay-Z plays Minecraft. Yeah. Anyways, adult chickens live up there. There's a bunch in there crammed, and they all lay eggs. When they lay eggs, it shoots it into this dispenser, which fires it, shoots it, ping, and it has a chance to turn into a baby chicken. Well, baby chickens standing on a trap door don't quite reach the level of the lava, so they just chill out. They just live there. But if they grow up into an adult chicken, now they're an adult chicken standing on a trap door. That little bit puts their head above lava level, and they're supposed to then, when the lava flashes, supposed to catch on fire and auto cook and auto give me their feathers. But again, this thing tends to break, so I don't know. I might have put it on a chunk border. That's the problem. I'll just remake it on not a chunk border. Chunk borders. That's something that Minecraft Bedrock should do, is find a way to natively add a way to see chunk borders, since they're so important to Minecraft. They're such an important thing that you should make a way to be able to see chunk borders, because they're super important. Super important. Maybe you can come up with a lore thing, say they're ley lines, and you can drink a potion to see ley lines. That'd be cool. Yeah, but I'm pleased with the direction of Minecraft. I had to turn off the clouds because they were glitching out. But otherwise, it looks beautiful. It looks beautiful. It looks great. I just want to hang out at my gold farm for a bit. Because it's so cool. It works so good. I mean, it doesn't work as good as... Okay, well, that's not true. The Navy Nexus one that I built, that does not use a water stream. It uses instead a hopper minecart. It uses 2 hopper minecarts. But I have noticed that items get backed up in that system. That's why I wanted a water stream, so the items wouldn't get backed up. Then I realized that there's no other way of sorting out non-stackable items unless you put it through a hopper. You can't do it unless it's through a hopper. So Navy Nexus, he still had the right idea because you had to put it through a hopper anyways to sort out the gold swords. He just did the sorting thing like right away, right at the first step. And then this one lets it flow a bit before it sorts it. But it essentially does the same thing. Navy Nexus does the same thing. He sorts out the golden swords and then routes everything else to a double speed hopper or dropper. That's what this is, a double speed dropper. It's just 2 droppers shooting off at the same time. And the one over there gets shunted off to the right because of the upside down stairs. So yeah, it's a good little thing. I like this. I like this design a lot. I mean, and I don't know why I decided to build the storage system above it. I just thought it'd be cool to be able to look at the portals as they flash while you're, and then look down and look at this stuff. The problem is I don't have enough glass. I have to go dig up sand for all this. I didn't have enough dirt to even finish the floor to like stand on this to build this. It made it really hard. Now that it's in place, it's cool. Let's turn it on. It works. It's just not finished, but it works. I can even turn off RTX so we can see the pigmen and laugh at them as they fall in. That's right, pigmen, just die. So, yeah, let's talk about, I don't know, I don't really have much to talk about this week. I know things have been going on, but I've been so absorbed with trying to like get this stuff done in Minecraft that I kind of like tuned out for a while. I mean, it's the holidays. I don't know. I've got stuff going on. I've got my own issues. But yeah. The good news is Brittany Griner came home. And I'm glad for that. That was good. I mean, like, I was afraid when she went to that Siberian penal colony. I thought that was like bad news. And then like the next news I hear is that she's out. So I'm like, oh, okay. But Putin got his stupid arms dealer back for it. I mean, like, come on, what kind of trade is that? You want to look at like the values of a nation? One nation got an arms dealer back, a notorious arms dealer. The other nation got back their minority, double, triple minority, like sports star. One person murders humans. The other entertains humans with their amazing physical prowess and exemplary, well, by showing the awesomeness of the human potential and body. Like, the two are not comparable, and yet that's what the trade was made for. And it shows you that yeah. Back here and get all the experience points. And then, but what I found even more interesting is all the hate over here that she got for being free. Like, what is that nonsense? Why would you be at all hateful for an American being free? Any American. Like, well, not any American, but like, yeah. Like Edward Snowden, you can come back to USA, dude. You'd probably be better off here. You might have to go to prison for a little while, but you'd probably be better off here than living a lie in Russia. Edward Snowden. And I know Edward Snowden says he did it to help the people, but he went through WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks was a Russian front, was a Russian operation. It may not have started as a Russian operation, but it got taken over by Russians. It was an information laundering service for the KGB. Yeah, I used the Trident killer I used is an old version by Navy Nexus because, and the timing is on purpose set wrong because for some reason in the new version of Bedrock, if you have the timings perfect for the Trident killer, the items won't come out. The items will stay in there forever. So you have to make it janky in order for there to be a gap for the items to fall out. So they come out in packets. They don't come out as like a steady stream. They come out in like clumps. But that double speed item sorter is great. It just handles it. Handle it. It makes me want to put another, get more tridents. I need more tridents to kill the zombies faster. And if I can do that, then I can maybe add more portals. I could stack them. Just stack it. Put another one on top. See, there's a baby zombie, pigman. Are they going to get out? That's why I have all those blocks there, is because they were glitching out a lot. They were glitching through over and over and over again. So, and I would almost die because they'd be angry. Like, you tried to kill me. I'm like, yeah, dude. All right. All right. So, yeah, what else is going on? What else? Psyched. I am psyched. The Rush. Yeah, just got to think. What kind of nation is what kind of leaders does Russia have that they would trade? They would kidnap a sports star in exchange for an arms dealer. Yo, you guys, that pretty much makes you guys like a terrorist state. But here, move back away a little bit from this so you don't hear the pigs squealing. Look what they did. Remember a few weeks ago, Russia withdrew from the big city, Kherson. With Russia had invaded and took over this big city called Kherson, but then they fled. They withdrew. But before they left, they looted the place. Look what they did. They're literally stealing a raccoon from the zoo. It's the city zoo, dude, and they're stealing a raccoon. Like, why would they be stealing a raccoon from the city zoo? Like, you're stealing, like, are you gonna be nice to that raccoon? Why would you take it? Like, what's up with the Russians? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Like, their leaders are crazy. Remember, like, they kidnapped a sports star. They're stealing raccoons. They invaded a peaceful nation that offered no threat to them. Like, something's pretty messed up with the spirit of Russia if this is what they're doing. And then all they have to do is look over here to the United States and see how many people in our own country are on board with that, are on board with Russia. And I'm like, man, like, do you guys even know what's happening? How can you share those same values? The Russians are messed up right now. All right, do you see any? Yeah, see down there. Did you see that one zombie pigman? He got glitched out. I don't know what causes pigmen to glitch out. I have to go maybe redesign the trident killer to stop pigmen from glitching out, because there's one right there, buddy. He wants to kill me. Parry. Strike. Parry, counterattack. Yeah, there's actually strategy now to like to combat in Bedrock, because for some reason they have a lot bigger range. Their range is like almost as long or even longer than yours. Yeah, somehow they glitch out. I don't know how. I mean, I just got to make a different kind, and then totally encase it. But if they glitch out, they suffocate. Go round and round and round. What we're looking for still isn't found. Okay, the other thing that kind of concerned me, I wouldn't say concerned me, surprised me, was that I actually agreed with Mitt Romney on something. How is that? How is this even possible? Let me show you. Let's listen to this clip by Mitt Romney.
This administration has done everything in its power to reduce the development of oil and gas in our country.
No, he hasn't. There's a whole bunch of gas permits that Biden gave out that they're just not using because it costs a bunch of money to develop oil and gas. It's not a free thing, and it takes a long time. It takes 3 years. What's the market going to be like in 3 years? Just if you're an oil and gas company and you're like, Biden just gave us all these permits to drill, but it's going to take us 3 years and cost us $10 billion to even start this drilling process. 3 years later, when we start drilling and we finally start extracting some product out of the ground, and we can start turning a profit, what's the market going to be like? The gas company is hearing energy transition. We're getting off of oil. We're leaving oil. Why are they going to invest $10 billion and 3 years and wait another 3 years to recoup their investment? Why would they do that if everyone's telling them oil is over? It would be foolish. It's better to use their existing what they've already invested in. So this is a ploy by Mitt Romney to try to paint Biden as the problem, but it's not true. So I don't agree with him here. He's wrong. Romney is a politics guy, no matter what. But here we go. Let's keep going.
We desperately need it. And I said there are 4 things I do that I think would make a real difference. One is recognizing over the next decade or 2 at least, fossil fuel is going to be the major source of energy in our country.
That's true. That is correct. Can't get over it. That's the way it is, dude. There's no way around it. We don't have the infrastructure in place yet. We haven't done it. We haven't done shit. Well, I wouldn't say we haven't done anything, but for the next 10, 15 years, it's going to be oil and gas. And that's what I mean, that's what the war in Europe is right now. It's an oil power struggling to maintain relevance. That's what it is. And it used oil as leverage over the EU in order to attack Ukraine and Belarus. And because of Europe was addicted to Russian oil, it looked the other way for decades as Russia slowly crept and took over Eastern Europe until finally like the fever broke and they realized, oh, it's a bad idea to be like paying the terrorists to attack us. But the problem is it's still the game. It's still the game. We need to get off of oil and gas, but still right now, for the time being, we need to invest in it and keep it going. Just so we don't feed the terrorists. Just so we don't feed the terrorists.
And that's true around the world. So if that's the case, at least for the next couple of decades, we ought to get as much oil and gas as we can.
I don't know about get as much as we can. I guess that's kind of what the United States is doing right now. The United States is like the #1 producer of oil and gas, and it's trying to feed Europe through like pretty crappy like shipments of liquefied natural gas. Like I don't know how good that process is, and it's probably not very efficient, but it's like the best we got right now, and it's kind of awful. We should probably invest and try to make it better. Right? Just because it works doesn't mean we can't do better. Just because it's functional doesn't mean it's finished.
We say we're going to shut down this coal plant. Well, we have 467 coal plants in America, and we're shutting them down one by one. Do you know how many China has? Over 3,000. And they're adding almost 500 new on top of that have already been announced.
Pretty shitty, right? That's real shitty. That's real shitty. Like even if the United States just like kneecaps itself in order to like meet its climate goals. Look at China. China's just being like crazy about it. However, and this is where I'll give China credit, China has already got a prototype molten salt nuclear reactor that runs on thorium, carbon neutral, and it generates like free water basically if you let it, if it's like they do it right. So, and this is something the United States invented 70 years ago. Alvin Weinberg for the United States invented this in the 1950s, and we did nothing with it. The United States did nothing with it. China had to come along to pick up our research and then go back to China and then keep going with it. And why? Because they're building ridiculous number of coal plants to keep their people with energy. They have ridiculous energy needs that can't be met by coal or can't be met by hydrocarbons without destroying the world. That's true. That's the truth. We can't just abandon the people in China. And it's not like just because the Chinese government is absolute shit doesn't mean the people are bad. The people are great. I love Chinese people. I was like all the kinds. There's all kinds of different Chinese people. Like if you just travel from region to region, you'll see the differences. It's amazing. It's really cool. Each region is different. Same thing with Japan. Like each region of Japan is different. You'd think no way, but really, it's kind of weird. Every region has its own specialty in Japan, like it's famous for. But it's true, and you can learn about them all. It's awesome. It's neat. And visit these little towns in Japan. It's great. All right. Anyways, but China's the same way, right? They have great diversity, but their people are really poor and they need energy. And if they're getting energy from hydrocarbons the way the West does, the whole world's going to die. We're just going to die because we're going to, climate change. So we need to get a new form of energy. And that's why I keep pushing the molten salt reactor. But Mitt Romney's on the ball here. He's totally right.
So shutting a coal plant here doesn't make a lot of sense if they're going to be adding the same number there. These things we have to do on a global basis, or our people just pull their hair out.
Now, the problem is, in the global basis, right now, status quo USA is number one. Status quo USA number one. Status quo USA is making money. Status quo USA is number one producer of energy. That makes it real hard for USA to like be an innovator when it comes to breaking this cycle, because that's the last thing they want to do. Like the powers that be would want to find some way to control it, to not change unless they can control the next one. So their idea is necessarily going to be bad. I don't know if it's going to come from the United States. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something to destroy our own power, but that's like the contradiction, the paradox, that our freedom is based on oil. Our economic freedom is based on oil. So but oil is destroying the earth. So if we we can end oil, but then we also end our economic dominance. Like, how can you convince a nation to put down their own power, their own global dominance? You can't. You need to find something better than what they have. And I think that's what the molten salt reactor is. I think that's better than what oil is. And the reason why the United States doesn't want to develop it is because it would destroy its own power. But China has no such reservations. It doesn't have any energy power. So yeah, it totally wants this thing.
So let's use our own resources. By the way, as we go from fossil fuel to all, let's say, solar, recognize where the batteries are coming from, where the solar panels are coming from. They're all coming from China.
Yeah, it's not that rare earth is not rare, like as in, oh, we can't find it. It's all over the place. Concentrated, but it's all over the place. The problem with rare earth is that it's not that it's rare. The problem with rare earth is that it's often contaminated with this other stuff. It's often found contaminated with this other radioactive stuff called, wait for it, thorium. It's contaminated with thorium. So the problem isn't that you can't find it, it's that it costs a bunch of money to separate out the rare earth from the thorium. It costs money, and they don't want to do it. They don't want to spend the money. China will do it. They don't care. They'll do it. Because their labor costs are a lot less than everywhere else. So they'll do it because it's cheaper for them. They pay their people less. But everywhere else, they don't want to do it because it costs too much money. Because the thorium itself is worthless. It's worth nothing. You can't do anything with it unless you build a molten salt thorium reactor. Then all that thorium becomes nuclear fuel. So you're getting the rare earth to build your solar power plants and your batteries, and you're getting the thorium that you need to run for the molten salt reactors. Like, the whole thing is a synergy. It's already there. China sees it. Why doesn't the United States see it? Why don't you guys see it? Like, it's killing me. Oh, it's because if you see it, it would destroy you. It's your own internal contradiction, United States. Your power is based on oil, so you can't see any other non-oil power sources, because if you did, you would not be able to control it and you would lose your power. It kills me. It kills me. Like, it kills me.
We don't have the minerals that we need for these technologies.
Yes, we do, dude. Yes, we do. Rare earth is not rare. It's here. It's all over the place. The problem is it costs a bunch of money to separate out the rare earth from the thorium, because right now thorium is worthless. But it doesn't have to be. It's nuclear fuel if you do it right. And that's what China is doing. It's picking up our research from the 1950s to turn thorium into nuclear fuel and destroy the oil market.
And the manufacturing and processing is done by China. We're going from a world where we're the largest producer of fossil fuel in the world, of oil and gas, by far. We're number one. We're now going to go to a world where China dominates in the energy world.
No, he's incorrect. Because if China builds these thorium nuclear reactors, they can license that technology, and they can mass produce them and then ship them out to all over the world. And now they're the leaders of energy. Why would an African nation want to talk to the United States when China is going to give them energy, carbon-free energy? that lasts for like decades and decades and decades, hundreds of years, and the fuel is free. All they're paying is for service, which is easy. The maintenance is easy. Like, Romney sees it, but only half of it, because he can't see the whole thing. He's stuck on the oil. He's stuck on oil.
China's going to be, if you will, a one-member nation of its own OPEC. And we're saying, hey, this is the right way to go. We need to actually organize a strategy for how we're going to lead in the new energy economy.
Yeah, and I told you, I've been telling you over and over and over again, the way to do it is with a molten salt reactor. We need to moonshot that thing. The United States invented the nuclear reactor and the nuclear bomb in 2 years. Most of those 2 years were spent building the factories to test the ideas of the scientists. So they had to build factories in order to build the components to build the reactor. But do we even have a manufacturing base like that anymore? Like, how are we going to do that anymore? Yeah, we need to moonshot that nuclear reactor ASAP before China does. I know they're trying to get fusion first, but the problem with fusion is that it's so exotic that it'll still be controlled by the very, very few. Whereas a molten salt reactor, because the fuel is everywhere and because the process is so simple, it's hard to maintain an iron grip on it and control. It's kind of going to be like free energy for everyone. And if everyone's got free energy and your power is based on the control of energy, you kind of lose out. You don't want to do it.
To be able to develop minerals here and process them here that are going into batteries and solar panels. We're not doing that.
Yeah, we should be mining. Go back to mining.
So we talk about these things without thinking about what other steps do we have to take if we want to actually lead and create the kind of change in the energy economy that we need.
Yeah. He makes a good point. He's absolutely correct. We need to figure out how we're going to do this. Because China's going to like steamroll us. And if they don't steamroll us, they're going to kill the earth before we even get there by building all these coal power plants. And the problem with the United States is that our power stems from hydrocarbons, so that if the United States, like, there's no incentive for the United States to develop a technology that will destroy its own power. Unless the new technology is also under the control of the powers that be. And molten salt reactors would not be under the control of the powers that be, so they're not interested in it. But China is, because they're not the power that be. Beautiful gold farm. Pigs fall in, but they don't fall out. Oh, there's one. See, one. Yeah, one did fall out. I gotta work on this to make it better. But I mean, I will. It's not finished, but it's functional. Yeah, look at that thing. It's packed. I'd probably need more tridents because it's overwhelmed with pigs in there. That guy's like half out. Back in there. Maybe I just gotta fill it with solid blocks. Just not look at it anymore. Stop making pig. This thing is so great. That in water item filter. That thing it's just great. Inline non-stackable item filter. That pig guy. There we go. I got him. All right. Yeah, it looks like I got to fill in the glass with solid blocks, and then that might stop any future guys from popping out. You shall not pass. Torches everywhere. Oh, I can't see them. But now they won't escape. So I'm safe. And the experience is coming through here, but you can't see it. All right. What's the next thing I wanted to talk about? Oh, yeah. So, hi, Americans. Hello. I'm talking to Americans now, only, specifically. Because, but like, not Americans, but United States people. United States Americans. So, so, United States Americans, I want to talk to you about Social Security. There was an article that came out in the Washington Post a few days ago, maybe a week ago, by Lisa Ryan. Lisa Ryan. Okay. And in this article by Lisa Ryan, she talks about, well, how messed up is Social Security. Oh, wait, let me pop it up here. Social Security offices critical to disability benefits hit breaking point. State operations that review claims face massive backlogs, leaving disabled Americans waiting months and even years for judgments, by Lisa Ryan. December 5th, it was like a week ago. So, let me just go through this article a little bit. This is in Austin. The Disability Determination Division in Austin was at a breaking point. Inside its vast two-story warehouse, close to 130,000 claims. 130,000 claims were awaiting review by state employees who help decide whether Texans will get disability benefits from the Social Security Administration. A backlog that would take at least a year by itself to clear. Just that one, a year. Nearly 40% of the examiners had quit since January, driven out by crushing workloads and low wages that could not compete in the high-tech boomtown. Those who stayed toiled in long rows of cubicles or at home reviewing massive medical files. Then, 1 week in September came the unthinkable. 75,000 new claims suddenly were routed to an electronic queue, already buckling under 2.5 years of strain during the coronavirus pandemic. So, to understand let me provide a little background. Social Security it exists because in the 1930s, the United States had suffered something. Well, the whole world suffered a Great Depression, economic collapse. That our economic system collapsed due to greed by bankers and capitalists. The capitalist system is prone to crisis, and this was a massive crisis. And the United States, before the 1930s, did not have a social safety net. It had nothing. It had nothing. So, if you were old, and remember that the basis of the capitalist system is that it needs to maintain a labor pool, a pool of cheap labor. It has to have that cheap labor in order to work. If it doesn't have the cheap labor, it can't work. So in order to maintain the cheap labor, you have to keep wages as low as possible to keep workers on the edge where they'll do whatever for a wage to get money to keep themselves, to reproduce themselves. Well, it got to a point where, when you get old and you cannot work, you literally cannot work anymore. If there was no social safety net, your social safety net was your family, was your kids. That's why you had a lot of kids, because they either died, a lot of them died, and if they made it to adulthood, well, those were the ones who that was your social security. That's who took care of you in your old age. But when the Depression hit, the young people couldn't find work, and old people couldn't work. And old people had no other way. They had nothing, and they couldn't sell their labor anymore, so they couldn't even sell their labor. So what happened to them? They literally starved to death. In the 1930s, poverty was so deep that people literally starved to death in the United States. They starved to death. No food. They just died. No food. My grandma remembered as a little girl eating dog food. Their family ate dog food because there was no other food. 1930s. This is the Great Depression. So, in response to that, FDR, I believe it was FDR, came up with the Social Security Administration as a way of some kind of safety net to keep people from literally starving to death in the United States. And it was like an old person pension or something. And so it started decades, almost 100 years ago, it started, this whole thing. And it slowly got added on to over time. It evolved, it morphed. But remember, when it passed, the right wing hated it. The conservatives hated it. They didn't want any support for workers. So they've spent the entire century trying to dismantle Social Security, because remember, the way they work is that they need to push workers to the edge. If workers aren't on the edge, if they have power, then the workers will use their power to negotiate for higher wages. And capitalism requires low wages in order to work. It needs that cheap labor pool in order to work. If you don't have that cheap labor pool, you can't concentrate wealth. If you can't concentrate wealth, you can't control the forces of production. And if you can't control the forces of production, then you're not the leader. You're not the top dog anymore. So Social Security was developed, or what came about, in response to our elderly people literally starving to death in their old age in the United States. So our government's like, all right, we got to do something, or our people are like, we got to do something about this, and they came up with Social Security. So it's so it's kind of a haphazard way of implementing it, because it's just patchwork, right? It just kind of evolved out of something, and it was evolved in the face of opposition. The same forces that want to enslave Black Americans, those same forces are also the ones who want to keep workers as poor as possible, because that means their labor costs are cheaper, and they can concentrate more of the wealth in in profit. If they pay the workers less, they can keep more in profit. I mean, you think this sounds like Karl Marx, but dude, I'm talking Adam Smith. That's just the way it works. Okay, so we have this program that's like the opposite of capitalism. It takes care of people regardless. It's supposed to. It's supposed to alleviate human suffering, and capitalism requires human suffering in order to operate. So Social Security exists in the face of capitalism. Capitalism is always trying to get rid of it. To that end, they had to balance it. Like, they couldn't have a fully federal program because it would be a massive, massive, massive program. Instead, they tried to like dole it out and keep it like a hybrid program where the feds would write the program and then do the review, but they would give the program to all 50 states. All 50 states would read the program themselves and then come up with their own implementation. So yes, there's literally 50 different ways of doing Social Security disability determinations. I'm not joking. Oregon does it different from California, does it different from Nevada, does it different from Washington, does it different from Arizona, does it way different from Maine. Like, I'm not joking. There's not a you would think, right? You would think there would be a uniform standard process. There's not. The feds give every state a uniform standard, like the uniform idea. Every state has the same blue book, the same boom thing they look at. Every state. But every state has their own process by which they look at it. It's not a uniform system. Like so many ways does this lead to our downfall, our inability to come up with a uniform system. Like, in some ways, it's good to have experimentation with different 50 states, but in a lot of ways, it's really, really bad. When you're trying to implement a national program, you don't want 50 different implementations. You want one standard system, and we don't have it. We have 50 different systems, and they're all messed up. Because now Social Security, over time, because you remember, Social Security exists in the face of capitalism. Like despite capitalism is always trying to tear it down. So it's always looking for ways to disintegrate the benefit that is derived from Social Security. One of the ways they disintegrate the benefit is by making it very, 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 very difficult to get benefits. Like the labyrinth kind of thing you have to navigate in order to qualify for benefits is outrageous, unless you're completely obviously. But even if you're obviously disabled, like I'm blind, I'm literally blind, and I've been blind since birth. Even if that's the case, Social Security cannot make any kind of decision without medical evidence. And the problem in the United States is that it's hard to get health care. So a lot of people don't regularly go to the doctor, or only go to the doctor if they have something wrong. So there's no records. So Social Security can't make a determination on something really, really obvious like blindness unless there's a record. And a lot of times people don't have records unless they go all the time to the doctor. And they don't, because it's expensive. So there's this gap in the record. Social Security cannot see the person like at all. They're just like it's a bureaucracy, and the person exists somewhere in the United States. So we have no way of looking at them to verify ourselves. The only way Social Security can see the claimant is through their medical records. And if they have no medical records, we have to get them. But if they don't exist, we have to create them. Oh my God. So Social Security has this vast system, not Social Security, but each individual state, because Social Security, remember, doesn't actually do it. It gives it to the states to do. So each 50 states has this vast system of doctors and pay schemes to whose job it is to make medical records, to generate a medical record for Social Security to look at, so it can look at something, anything to make a decision. Because remember, a lot of people don't have records because they don't go to the doctor, because our healthcare system in the United States sucks. And to get, but the other problem is that, all right, fine, you need them to go see a doctor. But remember, in the United States, particularly in the West, we are rural, dudes. We are rural. We are vast open tracts of empty land with nothing, sparsely populated. Another reason why there's not a whole lot of medical records is because people live out in this rural area where there are no hospitals, where there are no places to get medical records. So if you want them to go see a doctor, if you want this blind person who's obviously blind but doesn't have any medical records, if you want them to make a medical record, and you have to have them travel from their rural location to some other location that you can either arrange for a doctor to go visit them, or a doctor already lives there. But generally, doctors don't live out in rural areas that want to work with Social Security. So you have a traveling doctor. So that all of this costs extra money, dude. All of this adds just more and more costs. Just to make a record, all of this costs money. You got to pay the doctor. You got to reimburse the claimant. You got to pay for the records. And then if the claimant can't make it, you got to pay for the doctor who came anyways, but never saw anyone, which happens all the time. Like, oh my God. I can't even get over how bad it is. All of this just to generate a fucking document, just to make a record so that we have something to look at. Oh my God. It's outrageous. I like the frustration. I can't even get to you because it's not, because like all the people want is just to like get their Social Security. It's like, he's obviously blind, but you're going to make this guy find a ride to drive them 2 hours in the winter to go see a doctor to be like, yep, he's blind. To drive 2 hours back in the wintertime. And then Social Security is going to pay everybody a bunch of money. Oh my, like just to do it. We haven't even gotten to the benefit part yet. Oh my God. Ah. Shit. All right. What's the next thing? Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the benefit part yet. And that's if we have no records. That's if we have no records. Sometimes there are people who are like obviously sick. They have a shit ton of records. Someone's got to go through those records. And it's weird that like a doctor can just like talk into a machine and then make like books of it, and a machine will write books of it. But a human, in order to get that information, can't just listen to a book. They have to read it and go through thousands of pages. Human eyes scanning thousands of pages, looking for needles in haystacks. That little tiny piece of information you need that will fit into the blue book of the feds that they created. If you can find that little needle in the haystack to fit into the thing, it will unlock and you can get them benefits. Yeah, it'll be like golden. But it's so hard because the feds have made the thing so precise, and you need to look and you need to pour through so many little things that like it almost never ever makes like meats. It almost never does that. Almost never. Instead, there's another convoluted process that you have to go through where you weigh all the medical evidence and determine what's left. What can this, given all these medical impairments of the person, what can Social Security reasonably expect this person to perform given their age, education, and experience? So it's not just look for that one piece of information that will plug into there. It's also creating a big fat story that will be able to justify why this person can't work or continue, or why they get benefits. Oh my gosh. The data obtained by the Washington Post paints a grim picture of the holdups claimants are confronting. See, all of this takes a lot of time and energy, right? A lot of time and energy. In Texas, it took 214 days to get it done. Wisconsin, 227 days. Florida, 225 days. Georgia, 246 days. Delaware, 261 days. Normally, it's a 3-month wait. That's what when I was doing it, that's what it was. This was maybe 8 years ago. When I was doing it, it was 3 months. When the moment we got the claim, when it came onto our in our inbox and we looked at it, we had 3 months to get it done. That was the goal. And a lot of times there would be problems, rescheduling, weather, doctors, whatever. And then with the pandemic, I don't even know what it was like during the pandemic. That must have been awful. So the commissioner, the commissioner of Social Security, Kilolo Kijakazi, declined to be interviewed. We are analyzing factors that are contributing to the backlog. It is a combination of complex issues. She cited challenges to hiring in the tight labor market, historically high attrition, increasing medical evidence that must be reviewed, and shortages of physicians. Because Social Security does not pay their doctors really well. They don't pay them a whole lot of money. So doctors can make a lot more money by working in private practice. Why would they work for Social Security, work really, really hard, and not get paid a lot when they can do the same kind of work in the private practice and make bank? But conservatives are like, no, you must pay less money, less money. So there's always a downward pressure to pay claimants less, physicians less, workers less. Everyone wants to get paid. They want to pay less. But if you're paying less, then you can't get anyone to work for you, especially when the work is so hard. So Congress paved the way for the current crisis in the 1950s when lawmakers created the first of 2 federal benefit programs for people with disabilities. The complex vetting system was meant to ensure government served only those who qualified. In an appeal to conservatives, each state was given primary responsibility for reviewing claims, along with offices in Puerto Rico and D.C., creating jobs and devolving power from Washington. The system created an uneasy balance of power. They're trying to run a federal agency out of the states, said Melissa Spencer, a former Deputy Associate Commissioner for Social Security's Office of Disability Policy. The politics and tensions have always been complicated. Policymakers for years have just suggested in frustration that federal employees take over. The partnership was often tenuous, and the pandemic frayed it more. The state's costs are reimbursed by Social Security, which sets policies and regulations and determines when states can hire. The states train employees, set salaries, and awards benefits at rates that vary wildly. Social Security must sign off when a state wants to give its workers a raise. In other words, that's what I'm saying. One person doing a job in California is totally different from that same job done in Georgia. They get paid less, the standards are less, the reviews are the program is the same from the feds, but how each state does it is totally different and up to the states. So it's a hodgepodge. It's totally messed up. In Texas and in other states, teleworking staff were ordered to use their private phones. They were not reimbursed for the cost of their plans. Pennsylvania ordered 600 flip phones that took months to arrive, but many claimants wouldn't answer calls because they thought they were coming from spam numbers. For sure, dude. For sure. I have a phone. I never pick up my phone unless it identifies itself. You can go to leave a message if it's important, and if it's not, then it wasn't important. So yeah, that's an issue. No one wants to pick up their phones, and I think that's a problem with Congress because they let spam calls go for so long that now the phone is useless. So everyone's moving to internet or text messages, but Social Security hasn't moved to internet or text messages. In fact, that'd be kind of scary and dangerous. That leaves so many ways for identity theft and for fraud to happen. It'd be rife. It'd be so easy to do it that way over the internet. But are using phones to communicate with people or mail is like super, super old school, and it doesn't really work that well. It's really, really inefficient and expensive, and it's just broken, dude. Claimants are seeing fewer doctors, leaving examiners with vexing tasks of documenting their 12 months medical histories, retrieving records from medical offices whose employees were furloughed or working remotely took months, and when records arrived, they were often stale. Some people had developed new conditions requiring treatment that then needed review. It's never ending. It's never ending. Like, by the time you get the records, you need new records because they got new conditions, which delays the claim even more. Like, it just so it's snowballing is what I'm saying, dude. It's snowballing. All these bad things are snowballing. A former examiner in Florida explaining why he quit in September after 12 years described the job this way. It was all about the numbers. It was the sheer amount of work. We didn't care if you were denied or approved. We just wanted the cases out. Now, the problem is in the United States, Social Security is like literally their lifeline. It's literally a lifeline. It is life and death for a lot of people. It's decides whether or not you're going to be taken care of and have a home with diabetes or like have untreated diabetes in a car, always constantly moving and never making your doctor's appointments. So that's the difference. Social Security is life and death. It's literally life and death. And the way we're doing it is like total disregard, absolute disregard for the people who need help. And it's because we're trying to balance the concerns of conservatives with actually taking care of people. And this has become untenuous. You can't do it, and the whole thing is going to break. I'm telling you now, it's going to break. And I know how to fix it. I know how to fix it. But it requires a rethinking, a reevaluation of what we're doing. Remember why we started the trip, why we started Social Security to begin with. And I've already talked about this. Social Security should be changed into a universal basic income. That would eliminate the need for a lot of these records to be generated. If we just give people money, then yeah, just give people money. Just instead of putting a gate at the front end and having it be a super complicated, super labyrinth, and it takes lots of energy to maintain this gate at the front end, just to make sure that the right people pass through. Like it's so bad. Instead of it doing it that way, let's turn it around. Let's absolutely flip it backwards. Flip it totally backwards. Let's give everybody the money. Give them all the money. Everybody gets the money. Just everybody gets the money. Everybody does. And if you can work, then you will work and you will make lots more money. And if you can't work, then you're not going to work and you're just going to keep the money that you just got. And at the end of the year, not at the front, but at the end of the year, we look and we see who's got their piles of money. And the people who are not working, their pile of money is not very big. So, or even there. So they don't need to give back the money that we gave them. But for the people who worked, they did get a bunch of money. They not only did they have the money that we gave them, but they have a huge pile of money on top of that. Okay, you guys can kick down. Sure, you guys can kick down. You can give back the money that, like, maybe you don't give back all of it. Maybe you give back some of the money we gave you. Maybe you give back all of it. If you're really, really rich, you're going to give back all of it and then some. That's how you get a system that works. That's the way you should do it. And if you do it that way, if you take it out the back end, then you can eliminate a huge swath of the front end bureaucracy that is Social Security. To make it even more efficient, if you give everyone health care through Medicare for everyone, you also eliminate the huge bureaucracy of medical records and doctor payments. We can absolutely fix Social Security, and we can make it more efficient and save money and make everyone really, really happy. But the way we do it is by rethinking everything. We have to abandon the attempts to appease conservatives with separating out the program into 50 different 50 different fragments. Instead, unify it under one system, and then flip our idea from making a giant gate. Instead of a giant gate in the front, you collect it all in the back. That's how you do it. You collect it in the back. Instead of the front, you collect it in the back. And it will be a far more efficient process. Everyone will be happier. You need far less bureaucracy. You need far less bureaucracy. And you will have far greater service for people who need the help. Like, because I couldn't even imagine, like, I do imagine, and it scares me, that what if I were working and then I couldn't work anymore, but it took like 2 years to get Social Security. Like, and if I lived here and I didn't have any friends or family to hang out with, like, I'd be homeless. And then what would I do? Look how cold it is outside. Look how wet it is outside. And people live out there right now with bad medical conditions. Like, we're messing up. I mean, like, it's obvious. Look at this Washington Post story. I can tell you, it's messed up. We need to reevaluate how we're doing it. How we do Social Security. I think we can do it. I mean, of course we can do it. Other countries have done it. That's the thing. That's why I know we can do it. Other countries already did it. They've already done it. No other country has our healthcare problem. Other countries already have pension systems. When I lived in Japan, I paid when I was working in Japan, I worked as a teacher in Nara school district, Nara prefecture school district. A pretty large chunk of my check was deducted out, and it went to my pension. That's basically everyone who works in Japan. A large chunk of their check is deducted and goes into their pension. And when they're old and they stop working, they all get paid a pension. They get money. They have a money. You know, when they get old, that's like their Social Security. So when I left Japan and I no longer lived in Japan, was no longer a resident of Japan, I applied for the government to say, hey guys, I'm not a resident of Japan. I'm not going to live there anymore. Please give me back the money I deposited for my pension that I'm no longer going to get. And they're like, sure, dude, here's your money back. And I'm like, yay, thank you, Japan. Same thing in France. Well, I don't know. That was back in 97. I don't know if they do it anymore. 97, France was an independent country. Now, anymore, it's part of the EU. So I'm not sure how the taxes work. But in 97, I could apply for the government of France to get back the money the taxes I paid in France, since I didn't live there. I didn't do it because it was a labyrinthine process. In 97, computer was like, the internet was a brand new thing, dude. in 97, I email. We had to go to the computer lab in the college, in the French university, to use the computers, and they didn't have hard drives. Well, they did, but we couldn't use them. Instead, any email we got was kept on a 3.5-inch floppy disk or whatever, one of those little square discs that we carried around, and all our email was kept on it. It was so funny. It was so much harder to do things back then, before the internet and before computers. It was a totally different time. It was totally different. Yeah, you guys aren't going to know. It sort of like reminds me of, like, wonder what life was like before, like right before World War I in Europe. Like, they were still like pretty caste society. They had like middle class people had servants and stuff. It was weird. Like that all, I think, disappeared after World War I and II. Yeah, because their class system kind of like got wrecked. It happens when millions of people get murdered, or not murdered, but killed in war. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, happy holidays. I like the holidays. I like singing songs of my childhood. It makes me sad sometimes because I think of all the people I've lost and all the times that like are gone that I'll never have again. But at the same time, it's nice because I can make new memories and like, yeah, and enjoy my life now. So it's cool. Anyways, I think that's it. I've kind of blabbed on forever about Minecraft. So I think we can do better, America, and I think we can do better by flipping Social Security on its head and paying everyone benefits up front and then taking it out the back through taxes. But that means we have to revise our tax code because right now we have the 2018 tax code passed by the Republicans, and that's a really, really, really bad tax code. So, anyways, happy holidays to everyone. For me, I like to say Merry Christmas, even though I'm like, I don't know how Christian I am, but that's what I was raised on. It's nice. So happy holidays, and until next time, Pogoda out. Peace. Stop.